Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and today is the day of the Boston Marathon. I think as this goes out, what time will it be? Oh, you'd have been running the marathon course for 7 hours. Some people will be. Some people will still be out there in Boston. Good luck to them. And very well done to anybody who's either completed that marathon or any marathon, frankly. I haven't. I once, when I was about 20, agreed with some friends in a pub to join them in the half marathon they were doing the next day. Turned up and registered and ran it, and that was with therefore no training and complete absence of ability. And I finished in 2 hours 10 minutes, and frankly I'm delighted with that. My times would have been getting worse and worse ever since. So nonetheless, it's a half marathon time that represents longer than some people run a full marathon in, but there we go. Not bothered. I was quite happy with that. But why is this puzzle looking like this? It is brilliant. It is brilliant. Look at this map of the Boston Rapid Transit, the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority Rapid Transit map. And look at the red, orange, blue and green lines, and then compare and contrast with this incredible rendition of them by Figo Haar, who I think is a Boston resident or a native, who wrote to me years ago about pronunciations in some way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was telling me about the Boston accent. I have to admit, I have never used this transit system, even though I was in Boston even last year and never even found out where to park my car in Harvard Yard. So we'll go through the rules in a moment. Don't forget, on Patreon, there's still the Nightmare Sudoku Hunt, a couple of days left to enter that. And for a slightly easier spin out, the Super Mario Brothers race hunt. Do give it a try. No prizes for that one, but it is good fun, and you will be able to finish it. Teach your kids how to do Sudoku using it. That's my tip. Anyway, also on links under the video, you can find your way to our apps and our merchandise and Sven's Sudoku pad and the Discord server and the catalogue of all our videos, thousands of them now. And we're going to add another one today. We've got this Boston Marathon puzzle. So what are the rules? Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to put 1 to 9 in every row, column and 3x3 box. Each of the coloured lines represents one of the subway, the T lines they're called. Okay, didn't know that. Adjacent digits along a green lines. Now this is the German whisper rule. They have a difference of at least 5. So that could be 1 and 6, which have a difference of 5. 1 and 9, which have a difference of 8, but it couldn't be 2 and 6, because the difference would only be 4. Along the blue line, again, exactly the same purpose we normally use blue lines for. Digits along the blue line have an equal sum n within each box it passes through. So those two add up to the same as that, which adds up to the same as those three. On an orange line, cells on an orange line form a consecutive non-repeating set in any order. So I bet Figo Haar wishes that the Massachusetts Transportation Authority had used purple instead of orange for this line, because then it would have been a classic Renban line, but they didn't. A non-repeating set of consecutive digits in any order on that orange line. The red line now, each digit on the red line must repeat once, i.e. appear twice on the line. So I'm guessing that line has an even length. Digits joined by a white Kropki dot must be consecutive. Digits joined by a black Kropki dot must have a ratio of 1 to 2. You can't see any, but just keep that thought in mind for a moment. Digits joined by X sum to 10. Digits joined by V sum to 5. Now here's why we learnt about black dots and V's. All such connections between orthogonally connected lines of different colours are given. So wherever two different coloured lines are in cells next to each other, if they obey one of those relationships, a 1 to 2 ratio, consecutive numbers, summing to 10 or summing to 5, there will be the appropriate mark. And that means we've got a big old negative constraint throughout the puzzle that will matter. The grey cell contains an odd digit down there. Okay, that's enough rules. Give it a try if you fancy it. It's on the first link under the puzzle. I am going to reset my clock and start now. Let's get cracking. And the starting gun goes off. Let's hope this is, well, I was going to say a sprint. Let's hope it's a jog rather than a real marathon. Because the clue is in the name with marathon. It's a long old time. Right, now with green lines, there are three things I like to tell you. One is that 5 can never appear on a green line because its neighbour couldn't be a Sudoku digit. So we can rule 5 out of all of those cells in box 5. 5 can also not appear on an X because again its neighbour on the X would be another 5. So we've got 5 ruled out of 8 cells in the central box, and we can fill that one in on the orange line as a 5. On a white dot next to a 4 or 6. Oh, this brings me on to the other two things I was going to tell you about green lines. Firstly, that they alternate in high and lowness or polarity, and that is because you're either using digits below 5 or digits above 5. And if you used any two of those in a row from the same set, they'd break the German whisper rule. So we can colour alternating positions along the lines. Now, I can't yet colour them high or low, which I'd like to do in blue or orange, which are kind of close to representing thermometer versions of high or low. So I'll do green and purple. This 4 or 6 could of course be either high or low, but it must be next to 1 or 9 on the whisper line. 4 or 6 is always next to an extreme digit. I haven't got to the third thing I like to tell you. Sorry, there's no water left in that bottle. Let's try this one. The third thing I like to tell you is that 4 and 6 are difficult to place on green lines because they mustn't be placed where their two neighbours can see each other. Now, not a problem for this cell, it's only got one neighbour. But this one, or this one, or this one. Let's look at this one, just to make it really obvious. If you were to put a 4 there, the only digit 4 can be next to on a line is 9. So they'd both have to be 9, and that breaks Sudoku rules. So 4 and 6 are the tricky ones, and there are plenty of spots in this puzzle where 4 and 6 cannot go. No, maybe not that. I'm just highlighting the ones I can see immediately. I'm not going to colour them. Let's... of course. Oh, that's lovely. Right, first of all, 1 or 9 on an X is going with another 1 or 9. Now, there was another way to know that this cell was 1 or 9, and that's because it sees all 4 green cells. So it has to be the most extreme version of a high or low digit. However, 4 and 6, we can actually get quite some way in placing them in this puzzle. In this box. In fact, I can place the last one because you can't put one of 4 or 6 on this X, or the other side of the X would also have to be 4 or 6. And we've used one of the 4 or 6s in this box down here. Can't have 3 of them. This can't be 4 or 6, not because that can't be extreme, but because it can't be the same as that. This can't be 4 or 6 for both reasons. That can't be extreme because it sees a 1-9 pair, and it's not allowed to be the same as that. So this is the other 4 or 6 in the central box. And then everything else in the central box is from 2, 3, 7 or 8. I could actually colour this cell purple because if I keep this green and purpleness going, each box, row and column has to have 4 purples and 4 greens. And this box needs, therefore, a 4th purple. Now, these are the same polarity. Therefore, they're either a 2-3 pair or a 7-8 pair. And the same is true for that pair. These two sum to 10, so that's either 2-8 or 3-7. And if I was just to look at one of the other lines, I know right, I now know my highness and lowness, your highness, because how could this be a 2 or a 3 on the blue line? That would require these cells to add to that number 2 or 3. And obviously the minimum value of those cells is 6. So if the first thing you did in this puzzle was to look at those and go, this is a high cell, then you are fractionally smarter than I am, or maybe much smarter than I am. So we're turning purple orange, we're turning green blue, and we know what high and low is, and we can now fill in some of these digits based on having found out which ones are high and which ones are low, and using this alternation trick. So they go straight in. These are now the high ones, 7 and 8. The total of those three is 7 or 8 and includes a 1. This is a 2-3 pair. Now, okay, we can carry on. The 4 on the line goes on to a 9. The 2 or 3 goes on to a 7 or 8. It can't be a 9, and it can't be a 6 because of the difference. That 2 or 3, it's the same deal. This is 7 or 8, so that's a pair in the column. Now, what about this? Can't be a 4 because that's not 9. So it's 2 or 3. It's consecutive with this digit. Okay, I'm going to fill in 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, this is part of a sum that gets to 7 or 8. So this has to be at least 3, but it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So I reckon that is 5, 6, or 7. I don't see how it can be anything else. So this isn't 4. This one is connected with that and also can't be 2, 3, or 4. So I'm going to put in 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay, this can't be 7, 8, or 9, and it's connected with that. So this is 4, 5, or 6. Now, the negative constraint, this is going to matter somewhere. Yes, it's going to matter right there. Actually, I was a bit confused because I was looking at that cell and going, have I misunderstood, or this pair, and thinking, have I misunderstood the rule? Because why is that marking along a green line? But it's not, of course. It's there because it's connecting a green and a red cell. Anyway, this is a green and a red cell, and they are not allowed to be consecutive. So that is not an 8. And that's going to sort us all out. We use the X and we finish the central box. No, it can't be a 2 because that's green and that's blue. So that's a 3. This is 2. That's a 6 on the blue line to make 6 and 2 add up to 8. This is now odd. It's 5 or 7. I have a feeling it's not allowed to be 7. Because of that pair. That's correct. They would add up to 10. They would get an X if it was 7. So that's 5. This is 5, the only odd candidate. Now, what's happening on the red line, which needs to have repeats? It's got a repeated 5. I presume that's not going to... It can't repeat again, because that's not a 5 and that's not a 5. I wasn't sure if the rules made it clear that there are no other repeats. Like, you can't have a 4 appearance repeat. I think they do, actually. Yeah, I don't know. 3 on the German whisper line. That's become an 8. That's a 7. What about this? That can't be 7. It is 9. This is any low digit. In fact, we've got 1, 4, 7, and 8 to place in box 2. That has to be low. That can't be 7. This can't be 1 or 8. This can't be 4. But I'm not allowed to use the negative constraint anywhere up here. It just doesn't apply because there aren't 2 different lines in those highlighted cells. 5 can't repeat. Oh yeah, 5 can't. Right, this orange line or Renban line is 9 different digits because it's a 9-cell line and there are no repeats. So obviously it's a consecutive set. Anyway, I've just noticed 5 can't be in any of those cells. These ones because they're on the same line with a 5, and that because it's in the same row. So 5 in this column is in one of those 3, which is another way of ruling 5 off the red line anymore. What's this? Right, this suffers from quite a bit of negative constraint. So it can't be 2, 7 or 9, 6 by Sudoku. So I mean I could fill in the other possibilities. But there's no black dot, so it can't be 3. There's no X, so it can't be 4. There's no white dot, so it can't be 5. So actually it comes down to 1 or 8, which is quite neat. This one, yeah, there's something going on here. It can't be 4 because 1 and 4 would get a V. And that's it, actually. That wasn't worth doing. I'm still going to try again. Can't be 9, there's no white dot. Can't be 2, there's no X. Can't be 4, there's no black dot. So we did get a bit of reduction. What about this? This would be interesting if we can narrow this down. Oh, well, this is on an 8 sum, isn't it? Right. These blue cells add up to 8. So this is actually 1 or 4 just by that. And we know what it is because it can't be a 4 because there'd be a white dot. That is right. Yes, it could. 6 would be too high for a 3-cell blue line adding up to 8. And 5, 2, 3 are ruled out. So that's a 1. These are not a 1. These are now... Well, they're from 2, 3, 4 and 5. What can this be on the X? Not a 5. 2, 3 or 4 sitting next to 6, 7 or 8. But it can't be 6 because of that. And it can't be 8 because there's no white dot between those two cells. That's lovely. I feel like we've had a bit of a sprint start. It's probably one of those marathons where I've gone out far too quickly and I'm going to get exhausted and falter badly. That's a 7. Oh, that's become a 1. We've finished in box 2 with that 4 in the corner. Keeping its religion. 179 down here. That tells me that this is an 8 because of that triple in the box. Now, 5 is on this line. I should never have left 5 there as a possibility. That's 6. This is now not 5, 6 or 8 because they're all on the line. Oh, I was going to go this is broken because 6 and 3 get a black dot, but they don't because they're not on different coloured lines. They're both only on the same coloured line, thank goodness. That's 2 or 8. This is low, so it's 1 or 2. That's also 1 or 2. 8 in this row is very much a given. That's a 2, 5 pair, and we know that 5 can't go on the orange line again. That's a 6, 9 pair. 4 and 7 here. Got to be 7 on the high cell. 3, 6, 9 at the top. Now, we're going to get a fix on this red line in a moment. But let's just tidy up the Sudoku here. 3, 5 pair. 2, 4, 6 triple. Now I was going to start ruling things out with the negative constraint, but these are not on lines. Right, now this sees everything except 8 or 9. Now, what's going on the red line then? We've got the 5. Oh, of course, these 4 are all different, and they all have to appear somewhere else on the line. So they're the ones that aren't 5 on the rest of the line. Ah, I could have used that earlier maybe. So those 4 red cells in box 9 are these, which are a 1, a 7, a 3, 6 or 9, and an 8 or 9. I don't know, that's not quite as helpful as I'd expected. Maybe I'll do some other things first. This is low. Oh look, we've got 3 blues here that can't be 4. So they're definitely from 1, 2, 3. In fact, that one can't be 3. So that's a 1, 2 pair, and this is 3. Now, that can't be 3. That can't be 9. This is an 8, to be next to a 3 and not a 9. This is not 6, 7 or 8, and it's high. That's a 9. By Sudoku now, that's a 9. Now, what about this column with the 1, 2 pair? We've got 5, 6, 7 and 8 to place. That is a naked 5 because it sees 6, 7, 8 in the row as well as all of those digits in the column. That one is, oh, this is an 8 because it's the only place it can go in column 2. And this is a 6, 7 pair. Oh, I forgot the orange line. 2, 7, 1, 6, 3, 5, 8. We need a 9 and a 4 and we know exactly where they go. Is that a 7 X-wing? I think it is. 7s appear in these cells in each of these columns, in one of those 2 cells in those columns. Therefore, there are 2 7s amongst those 4 cells. hence the X. You're either drawing a line between them diagonally one way or the other. But that is going to use up the 7s for row 7 and row 9. So the 7 in row 8 is going to be in one of these cells. And didn't it have to be on the line? Yes, it did. So we'll put it on the line. There we go. Now, what is repeating? 7, 1, and either 3, 6, or 8, 9. So 4 is not amongst that. So 4 is in one of those cells. 2 is not possibly repeating, so 2's in one of those cells. Now, I don't think that was the right course. What have we got down here? 6, 7 pair, 1, 2, 5 still to place in the box, which is interesting. It gives us a 1, 2, 5 triple in column 1. So these are from 3, 4, and 6. That must be a 4. That's a 6. And we get 3 in the corner. Losing its religion. 6, 5, 8, 7, 9. There is a 3 there as well. And then I've got some 1, 2 pairs to resolve in boxes 1, 4, and 7. Now that 6 on the line has to get onto this end of the line, as does 1 and either 8 or 9. That can't be 8 or 9. It's still quite difficult to determine quite how the red line works, to be honest. Right, let's have a look at 4, 5 here. Let's have a look at 1, 2, 9 in this row. And that can't be 9 anymore because we've got a 9 there. Right, so we know exactly what numbers go on the red line. 1, 6, 7, 8, no 9. 1, 6, 7, 8. This is a 4, 5, 9 triple. And I know where the 9 goes. It's there. It's not quite the last 9 in the grid. This is a 2, 3 pair, and I can do those thanks to the 3 already in row 8. That's a 1. This is going to sort out all the 1, 2s I had hanging over, even in German whispers. Now, these are sorted. 5, 6, 4. That's a 5. That's a 3. 2 and 5 are done down here. That does 2 and 4. This is a 2, 7 pair, and I know the order. That's now a 1, 9 pair. 5, 3, 4, 2, 7. The only place for 8 in this column is there. And oh, the grey circle. Oh, well, that's exactly why the grey circle is here. I'd wondered if it was a landmark or something, but I think it's here to disambiguate this finish between 1 and 6 here. So that has to now be a 1, finishing number 1 in the marathon today. I don't know who did that because it hasn't finished when I'm filming this, but there we go. That is the puzzle. And that is good fun. That's a clever use of a real-life artifact. I really liked the puzzle Simon did recently with using the Instagram logo. And I really like this because that was so similar to the Boston Rapid Transit line. What's it? Sorry, yeah, that's what it is. Fabulous idea. Brilliantly executed. Very clever puzzle. Hope you had a go. Thank you very much for watching. Very well done to anyone who's ever done a marathon or indeed a Sudoku puzzle. And I hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.